You're ready to go, sir? You can go ahead.
July 2016, in Germany, an 18-year-old gunman who killed 9 people, it was reported that he was a fan of first-person shooter video games. In today's digital society, video games could become a day-to-day thing considering how readily available they are. Could these games really make us into criminals, or aggressive or violent in nature at all? I stand firm that they do not. This shooting caused many in the media to believe that video games could have a negative influence on people. I mean, even President Trump had announced that they had a negative influence on people, because killing in video games over and over could lead to the numbing of said people. I mean, just looking at the German shooter case, we could come to this conclusion. But is there any truth to this? Let's see what the research has to say. Just keep in mind, the president and many in the media thought that video games could cause an increase in violence. Whitney DeCamp, the professor of sociology at Western Michigan University, found no relationship between these two things. This information was found on CNN. How exactly did she come to this conclusion? It is stated in a report, Impersonal Agencies of Communication, comparing the effects of video games and other risk factors on violence. She used a survey from 2008's Delaware School District, which consisted of about 6,000 8th graders. And on top of that, these 8th graders were even asked to play violent video games. She had to, of course, factor out the children's backgrounds to not play a role in any of the data. In doing so, she found no link to video games and violence. To close, DeCamp even stated that we need to take a lot of caution before we place the blame on any one particular thing. Christopher Ferguson, the professor and co-chairman of the Department of Sociology at Stanton University, even agreed with her. And he stated that almost all young males play violent video games today, and yet the majority are not committing crimes. If this has not changed your mind, even the Supreme Court voted 7-2 that the sales of violent video games should not be outlawed because they have no effect on people. This case was known as Brown versus the Entertainment Merchants Association. Now, some of the reason they came to this was because if you look at video game units sold compared to the crime rate, as the video games got more and more readily available, some of the crime rate had even began to drop. That's what many of the Supreme Court believed. Rather, I think that we should tell of the good that video games have for many who play them. Video games strengthen things such as reasoning, memory, perception, and shooter games also enhance things too, such as being able to think about objects in 3 dimensions. And all video games increase problem-solving skills and overall can increase your mood. This research was found and given by the American Psychological Association. Finally, today, what can we do with all of this newfound information? We need to rather tell the benefits that playing these games can have on people and to stop the misconceptions of today. How these games can help instead of harm people. In today's digital society, video games could become a day-to-day thing considering how readily available they are. As seen, I stand firm that these video games do not increase violence in people. I hope that I have changed your views on these misconceptions.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. And if you wouldn't mind taking center stage here, sir, and we're going to go ahead and ask you some questions related to your topic, if anybody has them at this time.
Dushan, what?
Would you recommend them people to play more video games since they're so helpful?
I would say yes, due to the fact that they increase a lot of problem-solving skills and a lot of mental capabilities. Elijah?
Like anything, too much of something is a bad thing. So what would you say would be the ideal per day? As long as you play?
I'd say maybe, I don't know, at least a little bit of time. I'd say like maybe an hour or so, just something like that, because playing an over amount can also lead to unhealthy habits as well. Aiden?
Do video games influence us in other ways, like how we act and stuff, or how we talk? Like not necessarily toward violence, just like how we talk and stuff.
I don't believe so. I mean, Melina?
What sort of video games, when you talk about violent video games, like a specific one, are you?
A lot of people controversied over when the original Manhunt was released due to the extreme amount of violence in that game. Many believe that it should be outlawed, and in some countries it actually is outlawed.
Do you know what video games were tested in those test years from GameStop?
Those were not mentioned. Okay.
Do you know how long they played the violent video games? Like,
That also was not mentioned.
okay.
Why, Julian?
Was it just human on human violence? Does that constitute as a violent game, or can it also be objects too? Like what constitutes as a violent video game?
Probably the, I'd say the, as harm of another person or individual. Melina again.
What are some like non-violent video games?
I guess Tetris. Tetris could be considered one. You've got your, I guess Bubble Witch Saga, as they played in the LRC.
Okay, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cut it off for right now, but let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. Thank you very much, everyone.